Hi, my name is John, and I'm an addict in recovery. And what I like today, somebody woke me up, with a conversation, and I've been, and I find it that maybe a lot of people get this part of like the first step. Like I was thinking about the first step and the fact that it talks about being powerless, and in the 12 step program. And a lot of times people always interpret the first step as being getting their ass whooped by the disease of addiction, and because they keep doing it, and because they keep doing it, and they think that the fact that they keep doing it is what is how they they uh they uh they interpret as being. In other words, they continue to use, and they think that the fact that they keep using has something to do with being powerless. And the first step is really about not using. Like the first step is where you learn not to use no matter what. you know and and uh and I think it's the way we look at it. And a lot of times, literature talks about that a lot of things that we're eluded by the fact that that freedom from active addiction, and the thing that eluded us, you know um that a lot of times we don't even see that this is the answer. That. And a lot of things, a lot of things has, like the way you are and the way you react, it has a lot to do with how you look at things. The literature also talks about, that everything that we know about everything we know is subject to revision, especially what we know about the truth. And that's a big deal there. You know what I'm saying? Because like everything that I know, has to change, in some way or another. And I have to be able to tell myself certain things in order for me to continue to live. And one of the things that I do, with the first step with being powerless, is that I'm not powerless because I kept getting my ass whooped. I'm powerless. you know that's why I don't do the things that I used to do, because of the fact that I'm living powerless today. That's how I live powerless. That's how I live in a powerless state. In other words, I learned not to do things that hurt me because I am powerless. And that's what, instead of thinking that powerless means me continuing to get my ass whooped by something. That might have been how I learned to be powerless, how I learned to practice some powerlessness, you know, but it is not how I practice being powerless. I am powerless, by not doing the things that I used to do. That's how I practice being powerless. Like how in other words, until I start practicing how to be powerless, I won't allow a power greater than myself to restore me to sanity. Because I'm too busy being powerful. And that's just, maybe that's just the way I think. Maybe that's what I had to tell myself or interpret the step in order for me to move forward. But my clean date is March 11, 1989, and I still have the same clean date. And I believe it's because of the things that I continue to practice in these 12 steps, and what the way I look at them, especially the first step, because the first step is the most important step when it comes to realizing that you don't have to use ever again. You never have to use ever again. And a lot of times, you know um, sometimes like I mean, I've seen people not get that part, where they don't hear that, they don't hear that they don't never have to use again. But like, or maybe they just don't want to hear it, you know what I'm saying, because they want to continue to use, because until you stop, coming up with excuses to use, you can continue to use. And but I mean, that's what, whatever it is, it's never an easy thing to hear that you're the one responsible for the fact that you continue to use, like, and it's, like, I'm the only one who can make me use. I'm the only one who can turn around and pick up, so, if I don't make a decision to continue to stay clean a day at a time, and the fact that I continue to make this decision is based on the fact that I'm trying to live powerless today. Like, I'm living a life of being powerless, powerless, and because I don't have to fight anymore. I don't have to fight, because I'm powerless, and it's not a bad thing to be powerless. Then, somebody told me that that wasn't a spiritual principle, but it is a spiritual principle. It's a spiritual principle that teaches me humility, that teaches me how to be humble and continue to stay humble. Yeah, it's about surrender. It's about surrendering to a new way of life. The NA way, the 12 steps of recovery, and to surrender to that way of life. And I can't do that if I'm not being powerless. So, like, it's amazing how that slips right by us. And I, like, I want to, like, make it clear that we're powerless by not using, not by continuing to use. That's not how we become powerless. That's, well, that might be how we become powerless, but that's not how we practice being powerless. We practice being powerless by not using. And I think that is the problem with a lot of not getting that first step. Because, like me, I used to look at that first step as like, yeah, I kept thinking that me getting my ass whooped was me being powerless. No, but it's a 12-step program, and it's designed to stop us from using, to you know to I mean, the program is a program. The literature says this is a program of complete abstinence from all drugs. So it's designed to keep us from using. So the first step is about not using. Yeah, powerless over the disease of addiction, and my life became unmanageable. It became unmanageable, and me being unmanageable is a direct sign of because, like, even after I got clean, my life was unmanageable. So, like, I had to learn to be powerless by not using, because the disease gets arrested by not using. That's the only way the disease gets arrested. you know um which is in the literature also. So, like, this is what I have to tell myself in order for me to stay clean a day at a time. And it has worked for me. It has worked, to keep me continuously clean for the last 20 something years, so you know what? I'm going to continue to hold on to that, and continue to use that because, and what I've learned is that I have built, I have, like, this foundation has been built, you know, um, through the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous. It has been built, and it's like a fortress, right? And what the disease of addiction continues to do throughout my life is to try to break down this fortress that I have, that keeps me clean today, right? By, like, and, through, using newcomers and people, um, who continue to argue about literature, or continue to argue about my, how I see things, as far as, the 12 steps are concerned, and how I use them in my life, and just because they can't see it, you know, uh, they can't see it the way that I see it, like, they tend to think that I'm wrong, and that's not necessarily correct, because, like, the I've heard, and I often used to say, is that as many people as are in this program, that's as many ways as there is to recover. So, like, you have to tell yourself what you need to tell yourself in order to get to do the things that you need to do. and sometimes, whatever that is, to help you to understand life or to understand what you're doing, you know, you know, that's what you have to tell yourself. So like what, like it's like that slogan that says live and let live. you know we live our life, and we allow others to live their life the way they see fit. And sometimes what fits for them doesn't fit for me. And I've learned that. I've learned that, whatever it is that you need to do or to say to yourself in order for you to stay clean, that's what you need to do. And you know you can improve it, you can always improve it. You can always improve it. But like, I mean, when something is working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? you know um I've learned to come, to the understanding that I have from many years of experience, not from a couple of years or 1 year or 2 years. And I've been able to hold on to what I have, and thank God. Thank God for, you know that I've been able to see that. So what I'm saying is, like, if you want to practice some powerlessness, right? If you really want to practice some powerlessness, the first step powerlessness is learn not to do the things that you want to do when you feel like doing them. You know what I'm saying? Especially when they're not good for you to do. And that's how you practice powerlessness, by not doing things, not by doing things, not by by doing things that kick your ass. That's not how you practice powerlessness. You practice powerlessness by not doing whatever it is that's kicking your ass. And I guess, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking Jewish, maybe I'm not speaking English, and somebody, you know, uh, you know, I guess, I just needed to do this video anyway. It's on powerlessness, and if you didn't understand what I'm talking about, just keep coming back, and continue, to develop the program, by following the program of Narcotics Anonymous, or the 12 steps. And this is my interpretation, or my understanding of what works for me today, and I hope it helps somebody out there. And if nobody told you they love you today, I love you, and so does my higher power. And keep coming back. You know, Thank, thanks for listening.